There was a clear time when smartbands were less expensive with limited functionalities and smartwatches were more expensive with more functionalities. However, the line differentiating between smartband and smartwatch is getting thinner day by day, but they still do have some advantages over each other. What are those and which one is the right one for you? Let's find out. Hey, what's good everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Tropicana. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. तो आज हम differentiate करने वाले हैं between smartband and smartwatch and which one might be the right one for you. Definitely they both have some pros and some cons over each another. So we'll break down every individual point and discuss which one might be the right one for you. So इस comparison के लिए मेरे पास है Xiaomi का Mi Band 5 and Amazfit ka TRX2. So it's not really a direct comparison between these two specifically, but it's more like an overall picture between smart bands versus smartwatch. Let's talk about the price point. The smart bands start from somewhere 1.5 to 2k and has an upper limit of 15 to 20k. And when it comes to smartwatch, they start somewhere from 3k, 4k and probably has an upper limit up to 60k. In both the cases, it all depends on what sort of brand you are going for. There was a time in the market when Fitbit was completely ruling the smart band industry, but Xiaomi entered the market with pretty much similar features but at 1/10 of the price. Nowadays, companies like Boat, Noise, they are also making very affordable smart bands, and even traditional watch manufacturers like Sonata and Fastrax are also making smart bands and are selling at a very affordable price, and they are completely dominating the smart band market. The story is not so different when it comes to smartwatches. Big players like Apple and Garmin are sitting on top of the hill, but companies like Boat, Noise and Amazfit are really giving you the best value for the money. Take this Amazfit TRX2 for example. This has got 5 band satellite GPS support and all the sensors you can think of, and all the ruggedness of a G-Shock and all the sports functionality of a Garmin, but really at, let's say, 1/3 or 1/4 price of a Garmin watch. And generally a buyer with 3 to 5k budgets are leaning more towards companies like Amazfit and probably Boat, because they are really giving you the best value for the price. Talking about the functionalities, this is where these smartwatches take the cake in my opinion. They have larger display, larger body to accommodate more functionalities and more sensors. And when it comes to these smart bands, you pretty much have to control the smart band from the smartphone applications. But when it comes to smartwatches, you can do pretty much anything and everything in the watch itself. You don't need to open the smartphone application again and again. Smartwatches do let you install third-party application and in some cases games as well. The larger display allows you to be more interactive with the watch and less dependent on the smartphone application. However, when it comes to smart bands, you have to rely a lot on the smartphone application. And in some cases, even to check out the basic workout history, you have to open the application. GPS tracking is one of the biggest advantage of a smartwatch in my opinion, because they're not really dependent on the smartphone for GPS tracking. But when it comes to the smart bands, they need to be connected to the smartphone at all the time for GPS tracking, which can be a negative point. Some of the smartwatches have camera, Bluetooth call functionalities, even cellular connectivity. Some of them have internal storage for audio playback directly via Bluetooth, which clearly the smart band lacks. And if you have an iWatch and you are part of that Apple ecosystem, and definitely your functionalities are further enhanced. So clearly, smartwatches have a higher edge over smart bands when it comes to functionality. What about battery life then? You might assume that with a larger body, the smartwatches offer you better battery life, and the story is slightly different here. With larger display and loaded functionalities, it takes a big toll on the battery when it comes to smartwatches. The iWatch promises you somewhere 1 day of battery backup, and the Samsung smartwatch promises you close to 2 days of battery backup. Well, companies like Boat and Noise are promising you 7 days of battery backup with 30 days standby. I was actually very impressed with this Amazfit TRX2. I was getting close to 10 to 12 days of battery backup with heavy usage. The smartbands have smaller display. Some of them don't have touchscreen and they mostly have IPS panel, which result into much better battery life, and most of them will last you close to 2 weeks on a single charge. At least as of now, smart bands have much better battery backup as compared to smartwatches. This better battery life also results into much better convenience. Let's say you're going on a long trip You don't need to carry additional cable to charge your smartwatch. All you need to do is charge this once and you should be good to go for, let's say, 2 week at least. But if you have, let's say, iWatch or Samsung watch, definitely charging them, carrying another extra charging cable specifically to charge your watches is bit of a headache for sure. Talking about convenience, the smartwatches are more bulkier and more heavy as compared to a smart band. So definitely if you're not a watch person, then you probably better off with a smart band. And in specific situations where you're tracking your boxing activity or you're batting, so definitely wearing a glove over smart band is much more easier than wearing it on a smartwatch, and it makes it a lot more easier to track your activity with a smart band in those situations at least. To conclude, well, I'm going to give you a very cliched answer, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it all boils down to your preference. आप क्या चाहते हो, आपका प्रेफरेंस क्या है. जैसे कि मैंने पहले बताया, द गैप बिटवीन स्मार्ट वॉच एंड स्मार्टफोन इज गेटिंग थिनर डे बाई डे. If you buy a smartwatch, you will have to compromise on certain things, and if you buy a smart band, then also you will have to compromise on something. I personally don't mind wearing a smartwatch because it gives me more functionality, and it kind of makes my life a bit more easier. But even though I'm not a huge watch person, I don't mind wearing a smartwatch. So yeah, that's it for today, everybody. Hope you like the comparison. Let me know what is your preference. Do you like smart bands more or smartwatch more? So yeah, I guess we're gonna end it right here. See you in the next one. Bye.